I look at somebody's energy field, a very abundant, wealthy, creative generating person has their aura, or the way that their soul operates through their body is very, very expanded. And so when I'm looking at them, their energy is radiating out 20, 30 feet all the way around them. And when I'm looking at somebody who's not abundant, there's generally contracted, and their energy or their aura usually only reaches out about 2 to 3 feet all the way around them. And I can even get detailed enough that what happens is people kind of light up like a Christmas tree, and the light parts of them are all like open and abundant, and then I'll see within people like these dark kind of areas or shadows, like a Christmas tree has light and dark, when it's all lit up. And I just go into the dark energy and I say, what are you? And it's usually people's beliefs and imprints that they've taken on throughout the years. And I'll even hear, like, if I see some energy, let's just say around somebody's, lower back, I'll hear, oh, okay, they imprinted the pattern from their mom, of their mom thinking that everything in life is kind of a pain in the butt, And what we do as children, I've learned, is we mirror and mimic all the people around us because we want love. We want to be fed and clothed and taken care of. So little babies start learning how to mimic everyone around them. And if your mom and dad had like an abundant mindset, usually their energy field was kind of open and expanded. But if, parents grew up with people who are stressed out about money, or too many bills, or not enough money, or not enough time to make the money, et cetera, then the kids will actually start imprinting those things. So what I found is most of the root programs that we've kind of sucked in as, human beings started 0 to 7 years old. And I would have never really figured that out unless, like, I've worked on over 20,000 people one-on-one, and I still do one-on-one clients because I actually love it. But that was the gift of, reading and working with all these people, is I got to find out, okay, what are the root things that most people have, and how can I, help people, clear these root blocks that are blocking them from abundance. And so that's what I'm seeing. I'm literally seeing at what age and what time and what the belief is that they soaked in, and then we add light and we clear it. And I teach people how to do this, and a little later on I'll guide everyone through a meditation so that they can do that for themselves as well. I focused on abundance/wealth because at the end of the day, what I found is if you're blocked in love, let's just say, usually the same beliefs that are blocking you in abundance are blocking you in love. If you're blocked in health, usually the same beliefs that are blocking you in abundance are blocking you in health. I had one lady that it was the most profound experience. She did my course, Unlimited Abundance, that cleared her, her blocks, and she sent me this amazing email. Her name is Deborah. And she said, Christy, I took your course because I was my health was horrible. She was walking with a cane. She'd hurt her back. She was unemployed. And she goes, I just wanted to manifest money because I needed to get out of my situation, And she says, even though I was working on manifesting money and wealth, what happened was, and she sent to me her doctors, like kidney, like diabetes, blood sugar numbers, and she goes, what this means is, before I did your course, Christy, I was going to have to be on dialysis, and after I did this course and I cleared all my abundance blocks, because these energies are contracted in our body, right? And she goes, after I cleared those, I'm not going to have to be on dialysis. She got rid of her, cane. She met a man. She was in her 50s. She was laughing. She met a man, and she got a job. And I know it sounds like, I totally get that story sounds too good to be true, but from her email, she's like, it's so weird. She was kind of flabbergasted that here she is just working on abundance, but by releasing all these other blocks that were kind of impinging and contracting and, in her body, her health magically just kind of started fixing itself just from her working on her abundance block. So usually these blocks towards our abundance are really blocks towards us getting whatever we want in any part of our life. They're all intertwined. Like an example of an abundance block, somebody could have a block that they think, change is hard, right? So if you think change is hard and you're trying to manifest something in your love life or your health or any other part of your life, change is hard is gonna stop those areas of your life as well. I would have never known this one had I, again, not worked on so many people, but at least 80% of everyone I've worked on has a belief that they don't want to be in their body. And I'm like, are you kidding? I would have never realized that. And this infinite being, your soul, comes into your body. All of a sudden you feel this contraction, like, oh my God, I'm in this body and like all my superpowers are shut off, basically, is what it seems like it feels to people. And then if their mom had a lot of fear-based energy or contraction, then they start feeling their mom's energy and they're like, oh my God, get me out of here. So for a lot of people, the first kind of imprint they get is, this body doesn't feel so fun to me. So for a lot of people, when I'm clearing them about wanting to get abundance or get something to happen in their life, there's this kind of lull in 80% of people's energy feel this kind of depression. In a way, that's how it sort of feels, like, oh, I don't really want to be here, and being here is so hard and it's not so fun. So the very first thing I usually do on a client is clear that, because I want to restore their life-fullness. You know what I mean? Their ability to really actually want to change things and be here. And so I would have never really seen it from that perspective, again, had I not worked on some people. But the general things that I see are usually people have receiving problems. Like if you're brought up to be a very polite person, right? And and you had siblings or something, and you need to share everything, right? That's a common block, is they want to give more than they receive. And so I help people, overcome that. The other thing is value. Like some people, if you're brought up to be very polite, you don't want to think that you have more value than other people, so you'll lower your energy to fit everyone around you, not to upset the apple cart, so to speak. Again, some people are afraid of change. That's a really big one, because maybe, if you, as an example, you came from a divorced family and all of a sudden your life changed in unexpected ways, that's kind of traumatic. That wasn't happy or abundant or whatever. And some people, so it's, a lot of people are like afraid of rejection, like, okay, I don't want to take this big bold step or start my entrepreneurial career because what if I fail, or what if it doesn't happen the way I want it to? Maybe people won't like me, you know what I mean? So all those kind of internal things come on. And some people just actually aren't willing to see into the future and see something different. So that's a block as well. So those are some of the common ones. It's about unlimited potential is what people are really craving. And so when they're in those transition periods, their soul is calling or craving for more light within them. And I always say, what does that mean? I believe it's like the awakening of all our superpowers, all our true potential, our intuition, our manifestation powers, our creation powers. That yearning is the part of their soul saying, hey, okay, we're going to upgrade, and I'm going to help you get more full within yourself. I always say, people say, it's negative to say you're full of yourself. Well, who else are you supposed to be full of, right? I want to be full of myself. And so there's that craving for all of that to come in, and that's why people are drawn to, meditation and intuition and clearing their blocks and things like that, because they know that there's something in the way of these kind of superpowers getting reactivated. And that's what we felt like when we first came into a body. All of a sudden there's this energy of like, oh boy, all of me doesn't fit here. You know what I mean? How do I get all of me to fit in here or awaken? And obviously everyone has a different parents. If your parents were very fearful and contraction, then, you're obviously a little bit more limited than somebody whose parents let them, the baby have their space within their body. For everyone, it's a little different, okay, because everyone mimics parents different. But generally speaking, so I'll think of a client that I worked on yesterday as an example. So when I had to clear her field, she imprinted her mother's abusive relationship with her father is really what happened. So here she is in a body. She's 50, 60 years old, wanting to not live. Now, consciously, she knows she wants to live, okay? But the overriding thought within her head, she goes, Christy, I'm always thinking this thought. I don't want to think this thought. You know what I mean? I've had this thought in my head for 6 years. I don't want to do it anymore. To me, how it felt was a wave of energy literally right in front of her, blocking her. So it's like she's looking through this big cloudy mass of energy, and that's how she had to live her life. So we add light, pull that whole cloudy mass off, and for her, what it would feel like is, I can't get rid of this darn thought, this anxiousness, right? So within her, it hit her emotional body, and she's feeling anxiousness, and I don't want to be here. And how it played out is in a myriad of ways. It played out in her attracting abusive relationships. It played out in her losing love with her daughter. It played out in all these things because not only did she imprint her mom's abusive relationship, but she imprinted her mom's thoughts of, I'm not loved, I'm not cared for, I'm not safe, I'm not okay, right? So then she played out those roles within her life of, I'm not safe, everyone leaves me, I'm always alone, you know what I mean? I'm always rejected, I don't get what I want, and that was like her life theme. And the poor woman really imprinted this from her mom. Like that was the initial imprint. It's a very sad story, but I see this a lot, and that's why I'm compelled to do this work, because I really want to kind of shake people and wake them up, you know what I mean, and say, look, what you're playing out is simply a pattern, and if you release that, you don't have to play that role anymore. You don't have to live that story. And it really is that simple. It's simple to do. You just have to be diligent in the clearing of the patterns. So I always say to people, just really look at your theme or your life story. You could look at your whole life, you know what I mean, and say, okay, what's the general theme? Do I get love? Yes or no? Do I get abundance? Yes or no? Do I feel safe in the world? Yes or no? Do I know I'm really a creator being and I can create anything I want if I really put my mind to it? Yes or no? And, and like same with health. Can I create health? Health is usually one of the biggest clues for me, because I see that if people have a health problem, that's usually where you have whatever part of the body that you're affected usually has a lot of contraction and patterns and imprints in it, So if somebody comes to me and they've had a heart attack, like I had a gentleman a couple of weeks ago, he's like, Christy, I had a heart attack, and I'm like, okay, well, let's clear we'll clear the emotional part that created that, right? But what happened is I go, when you had the heart attack 2 months earlier, it feels to me that you had a stress that equaled a heartache that happened 3 other times in your life, and I gave him the ages. That's so weird. Yes, my wife and I were talking about getting divorced. This would be my 3rd major breakup in love. One was an earlier marriage, this would be a 2nd marriage, and then prior to that there was a girlfriend. And so what happened is the stress of the thought of getting another heartache, right, another divorce, kind of was sitting in his energy field. And again, and then, emotionally, like, why did he have the heart attack then? I don't, you know what I mean? I know people would say, well, yeah, he had a heart attack, so he had physical health problems. Yeah, but I think our field of energy also affects, you know what I mean, our body. We cleared all that, and he goes, for the first time in my life, he goes, since I can remember, I can actually now breathe into my belly, because it was like this energy was so heavy on him, and he'd been kind of carrying it, that he literally couldn't get breath in his belly. So he was like taking deep breaths, and he's going, this is amazing. Like, I would have never figured out that my uncleared earlier heartache stuff, you know what I mean, was blocking me from, breathing all the way into my belly, And as beings, we can kind of take quite a few hits, I've noticed, before it really kind of affects us, in like a very physical way. Like if anyone on this phone call has a physical issue, you know what I mean? Like I would go into to my energy in that body part and say, okay, what are you holding there? What kind of beliefs? What kind of feelings? Like guilt, fear, shame, worry, angst, anger, sadness, what is it? And then really start adding a lot of light to that body part so that it can not have to give you the message. I find that our bodies, if it's ill, it's really just trying to give us a wake-up call and say, hey, you have some things here that are unhandled. You need to kind of ask some questions, go inside and figure out, well, what is this unhandled energy that's hanging out around this body part? And I find it's very, like, you know, the easiest way I could ever ask to clear a client is I'd say, tell me all your body aches and pains and just clear it like that, because that honestly is usually where most of the patterns are stuck. You know, it's kind of like pain in the butt, you know what I mean, is all the stuff that they don't want to deal with, and they try to like shove behind them and pretend that they cleared it, but they didn't really clear it. They're just ignoring it and being in denial. I'll kind of guide them through it, and then I'll ask the questions, and they'll see that whatever kind of pops in their mind after they ask the question, see, the real awareness or answer comes in as soon as you ask a question within a few seconds. If you have to wait longer, if I said, okay, Nee, what are you trying to tell me, right? And there's an energy that'll kind of pop in right away as soon as you formulate the question. And if you wait longer than 3 seconds, you just went into your mind and you're just kind of going into a weird story. But true awareness pops in instantaneously the moment you ask a question. That's actually what ask and, it is given, or ask and you shall receive, is really about. The moment you formulate the question, the universe will happily give you the awareness. Okay. All right. So remember how I earlier said that expansion equals abundance. You know, we're an infinite being in a body, and what we're really trying to tap into is this infinite field of possibilities instead of our limited contraction/story. So everyone just close your eyes and take your energy up 300 feet. And I just find that there's this cool space about 300 feet above your head where you see, sense, or know the light. And everyone naturally goes here when they pray about something. If they say, oh, I'm going to meditate about something, or I'm going to pray about it, you naturally expand your field and maybe even look up, and then you connect to this light. And allow this light to just kind of like a rain shower come into the top of your head, opening up your crown, and you're just going to set the intent that this light is going to start washing away any old fear, anger, worry, shame, guilt, sadness, any of the lower energies. And it's going to open up your connection to the truth of who you are. So we're going to ask this light to come into your crown and open up the truth of who you are. And we're going to ask this light to go into your third eye and kind of wash away anything that blocks your spiritual sight. And we're going to ask this light to come into your ears and wash away anything that's in the way of you hearing your guidance. And we're going to ask this light to come into your throat, washing away anything that blocks the communication between your head and your heart. Okay, so there's like you can energetically see all the people that are going to listen to this start washing all that stuff away. All right, so allow the light to come into your heart, opening up your connection to what you feel in the world. And allow this light to come into your stomach area, opening up and releasing all the anxieties of your day, like all the places where you felt a little betrayed or sucker punched. And allow the light to come into your lower abs and hip area, washing away anywhere you felt powerless or you couldn't move forward. Okay, and allow the light to come down your legs, into your knees, into your calves, and into your feet. Now, there's an interesting place in the center of the planet that feels like mother's love. It's kind of a dimension, I guess, for lack of a better way to say it. So allow the light to just kind of gently come through your body and gently go through the center of the planet until you kind of get a sense of a light, like a dimensional light in the center of the planet that feels like mother's love. Okay, and once you connect to that, we want to bring this energy of mother's love back into your body so that you actually feel safe here on planet Earth. So imagine there's like this cool little elevator and this light, this safety, this security, this mother's love is going to just come right back up from the center of the planet into your feet, into your legs, into your hips, into your heart, into your throat, into your head. Okay, so you're now connected from above and below to this unlimited possibility field. And I want you to take this energy and allow it to just kind of pour out your heart. And imagine your heart's like a big sunshine, 360 degrees all the way around. And I want you to start expanding your field of energy. So take this heart energy. You know, it's pummeling in from above and below, and it's in your heart, and you just radiate it out 3 feet all the way around you, 10 feet all the way around you, 20 feet all the way around you, 30 feet all the way around you, 40 feet all around you, and just let it go out as far as you want. You can make it bigger than the planet. You can make it bigger than your city, just whatever space feels comfortable for you. And if everyone just did this one thing every day, like this connection to a bigger reality field, that right away would start opening up your abundance. And so now I'm going to help you find what some of your blocks are. Okay, so I'm going to ask you guys a question, and the first thought that comes in, just trust whatever this thought is. So what age is the first age that you decided you could not receive something that was good for you? So what age is the first age that you decided you could not receive something that was good for you? Okay, and whatever the number is that popped in, did you pick this energy up from your mom, from your dad, from yourself, or from someone else? From your mom, from your dad, from yourself, or someone else? And just trust whatever the first thought is. Okay, so once you have that awareness, and for those of you who maybe don't trust your intuition as much, or you just know that we're going to do a clearing statement on this energy field, and it will clear. You know, it's like we opened a file folder, so you might not be aware of what's in the file, but it will clear anyway with the light going into it. And I want you to ask this question. When you couldn't receive something that was good for you, what was the main emotion around that? Like fear, anger, worry, shame, guilt? What was the main emotion? And I'll even show you that it's probably tied to a body part. Where do you feel this heaviness in your body when we're talking about this? What part of your body feels a little heavy? Okay, and that's probably where you stored it. Okay, so now we're going to just add a lot of light. So just imagine a lot of light coming into that body part, and we're going to just say a clearing statement. We're just going to ask it to instantly clear and transmute. Transmute means it instantly vaporizes. Clear and transmute across all time, dimension, space, and reality. We're going to ask this whole pattern, this whole imprint where you couldn't receive your good, to clear and transmute across all time, dimension, space, and reality. One more time, clear and transmute across all time, dimension, space, reality. So just imagine a lot of light going in it and just kind of see it instantly vaporizing, transmuting, clearing, again, across all time, dimension, space, reality. So that just means in any place that you're holding it, across any time, any space, any body, any other life, if you believe any of that, it's all going to go. Okay, perfect. Okay, so since I know that some of you guys might not appreciate being in a body very much, let's ask this question. What's the first age that you decided not being in a body was very fun? Or being in a body wasn't? What's the first age that you decided that being in a body was not so fun? Okay, and did you pick this energy up from your mom, from your dad, from yourself, someone else? Okay, what's the main emotion tied to it? What's it make you feel when you think of this pattern? Okay, and what body part's it tied to? Where in your body, on or around your body, does it feel heavy? Okay, perfect. So now we're going to send a blast of light there, and we're going to say we're going to clear and transmute it across all time, dimension, space, and reality. Another blast of light to it, clear and transmute it across all time, dimension, space, and reality. And when you're adding light, it should start feeling lighter or neutralized. Okay, clear and transmute it across all time, dimension, space, and reality. Okay, let's ask this question. What age is the first age that you learned money was not good or money was bad? What age is the first age that you learned money was not good or bad? Okay. Did you pick that energy up from your mom, from your dad, from yourself, from someone else? Okay. And what emotion is tied to this? Stress, fear, worry, sadness, anger, any of those, guilt, shame. Okay, and where is this stored in your body? Okay, send a blast of light there. We're going to ask to clear and transmute it across all time, dimension, space, reality. Clear and transmute it across all time, dimension, space, and reality. It's kind of funny. I can feel this one has a heavier energy on it, so send a lot of light there. Clear and transmute it across all time, dimension, space, and reality. Okay, and I'll ask one more question. Okay, what age is the first age that you decided I am not good enough? What age is the first age that you decided I am not good enough? Did you pick that up from mom, dad, yourself, or someone else? Okay, and what emotion is tied to this? And what part of your body feels heavy when you think of this pattern? Okay, perfect. Okay, send a blast of light to that. Clear and transmute it across all time, dimension, space, reality. Clear and transmute it across all time, dimension, space, and reality. Okay, clear and transmute it across all time, dimension, space, and reality. Okay, and I'll do this one for all the healers on the phone call. What age is the first age that you decided it was better to give than receive versus being able to do both? So what age is the first age that you decided it's better to give than receive? Okay, do you pick that up from mom, dad, yourself, or someone else? Okay, and what's the main emotion behind it? Okay, perfect. And where is this stored in your body? Okay, so send a blast of light there. Okay, clear and transmute it across all time, dimension, space, reality. One more time, clear and transmute it across all time, dimension, space, and reality. Okay, send a blast of light, clear and transmute it across all time, dimension, space, and reality. Okay, and I'm going to just have you do a couple of positive imageries. Okay, so I want you to think of what it would be like for you to be an amazing receiver. So I want you to kind of visualize that the universe will happily give you things, and you can easily and effortlessly just take it because you're worthy and you deserve it. Okay, and I want you to imagine being in your body and just feeling like that all your superpowers are activated, that you're a creator being in a body, that if you want to go manifest, your goals with ease, that it's available, that all you have to do is connect to the light, ask questions, take guided action, make it happen. Okay, and I want you to, because you guys are in the energy of, float in the expanded state, I want you to see your goals and going out into the universe. I want you to see them going out into the planet, and all the right people, places, ideas, thoughts, events, all of them are brought kind of ricochet back to you. So you send out the goal, and then all these people, places, things, ideas, and events that help you manifest it just immediately show up in your world. And you know exactly what to do. You know exactly who to call. You run into the right, ideas and things, and everything just magically happens for you. Now notice when you brought it back, though, when you brought this energy back to you, you also still remained expanded, right? So that's kind of the proper energy for manifesting, is being in this expanded state. And when you're ready, just open your eyes, knowing all is perfect, all is well. Here's the thing, trusting the first thing that popped in your head, because a lot of people, when my clients first come to me, they'll go, Christy, I know what happened. It was like this story that happened when I was 7 years old, and all my problems revolve around that thing. And I'll go, well, if that were true, then you'd be over it, right? Because sometimes we have to ask the question and trust the other ages or ideas or awarenesses that kind of pop in, because there's other imprints that happened at other times. If that person had really cleared all their stuff from that one event, then, they'd be abundant. They wouldn't be calling me, right? So be okay. I say to people, be okay with, there might be some other awarenesses by asking questions that pop in, and, just trust that you should clear those as well. I'll bring up these ages for clients, and they'll be like, man, I am feeling so heavy, or whatever it is, anxious or fearful or whatever. And I'm like, okay, well, let's stay with it. We're going to keep adding light to it. And then, within 5 minutes, 7 minutes, whatever, 2 minutes, the whole thing's gone. I have them think of it again, and they can't even think of it anymore in the same way, because the whole pattern's been neutralized. And that's how you know it's gone, because that fear doesn't come up anymore. Sometimes when you clear these patterns, it's like you can literally see light behind your eyes. Like I've had people say, after I cleared a really heavy pattern, it's like you lifted this whole lens off of me that was all dirty, and I'm literally looking around my living room, and the room is brighter. You know what I mean? Like that's sometimes how the patterns can even be. Like they literally affect your everyday, just even physical sight, how you see the world. I have people from all over the world. I don't do anyone physically in front of me because then they never leave. I do it over the phone, and we just book it through my office, and I just do it over the phone. And I do it because every business consultant would be like, Christy, why are you spending your life doing that one-on-one? And honestly, I get so much joy from it, and I get to see and experience through them another human being having an awakening right in front of my eyes, where they finally get it. And that is just super exciting to me. It just brings joy to my day. I had a really interesting path. I had one of those kind of funny stories where I was standing on, that we have these things in Chicago called the L tracks, like it's the elevated train, and they're metal, and I was freezing my tush off. And I'm like, oh, universe, you have to get me out of here. I don't want to live here anymore, And I was 20. And a week later, a book fell off the bookshelf, literally right in front of me. I didn't touch the book. It just, boom, popped out of a bookshelf, and it was the Silva method. And so as soon as I picked up the course, or the book, the thought came into my head, this is the truth, go take a course. And I never had a thought like that, so profound, just pop into my head. It was like the voice of God or something resonating within my body, telling me to, go do that. And I did it. And honestly, people kind of have struggle or whatever, but I learned how to manifest when I was 20. And so I had a really amazing life, jet setted all over the world and traveled and had fun. And then what happened is, about, let's just say 10 years later or so, I would always visit these wacky healers, and I'm like, I know I can do what they do, but it hadn't activated in me or something, And so I was sitting in my living room one day, literally, and all of a sudden these guides showed up in my living room, and they said, hey, you want to learn how to heal people? We'll show you. And over a period of 30 days, they showed me how to heal people. It didn't look like anything I would have ever thought it looked like. Oh, I'm like, really? This is how you heal people? You remove darkness? You know what I mean? Like, I thought, this is so weird, you know? And I still didn't, I was going along with it because I always have this openness to, I'll try anything as long as it's fun. And it was fun to me, so I did it. And then what happened is they sent me, I moved into a new town, and I heard, go to the chiropractor today. And I found one, quote, quote, randomly in the phone book, right? And so I walk into his office, and he looked like a wise old sage. He was like probably 80 years old, very vibrant, clear blue eyes, bald head, white hair, you know, kind of like little white hair on the side. And he goes, what do you do for a living? And I said, well, I guess I'm going to help people. Like, I didn't know how to answer this, right? You know what I mean? Like, it's like the universe is giving me a trick question or something. And he goes, well, I'm hearing from my guides that one of my patients has been to like 40 other chiropractors and nobody can fix him, and my guides are telling me that you can fix him. And I looked around the room, and I saw that he had pictures of, like, angels and Jesus and Buddha and all these ascended masters on the wall, right? And I hadn't noticed this at first. And I'm like, okay, sure, send him over. And so this guy comes over, and I saw immediately what happened. He had smoked pot when he was 18. He felt really badly about it, and all this guilt got shoved into his back. And so I energetically pulled all this guilt and stuff out, and I said, hey, okay, you know, I pulled it all out. I'm hearing you'll be fine, but let me know what happens. Because up until that moment, I never proclaimed I was a healer, you know. And I was kind of in the same energy of, oh, we'll see what happens, right? And he visits my house a couple of weeks later. And he goes, Christy, I got to tell you what happened. He goes, I left your house, and that very night I had these dreams, and I was sitting in all sorts of chairs, short chairs, tall chairs, whatever, and my back no longer hurt. But you have to understand, I'm a skeptic because I've been to all these healers and nobody could fix me. And so the very next day, I jumped out of bed after the dream. I did all that. My back didn't hurt. But I didn't want to come over right away because, again, I don't know if it's going to last. And so he said, there was a guy building my shed out back, and he said he was doing a horrible job, and I just was so annoyed, and so I fired him. But what you don't know is prior to now, I couldn't sit or stand, you know, for more than 15 minutes in one place without my back hurting. So imagine I'm crawling up a ladder, bending over, pounding nails, lifting wood. He goes, that was impossible. And I built my shed. It's all done, and my back doesn't hurt anymore, you know? And so for me, I mean, the gift was for me, you know, obviously for him and for me simultaneously, because that was my first realization, like, oh my gosh, this energy stuff really, truly works, you know? And so, and I'm kind of crazy in that I'm just open to anything. If the universe guides me to go do it, I don't even question it anymore. So within a short amount of time, I started going on the radio, and I did casino shows, and I had like people coming from all walks of life, and I just work on their energy, and they'd report, you know, that really cool things were happening. And so that's really how it started, and it's just really fun to me. Working with over 20,000 people and finding all those abundance blocks, there's 24 sessions of abundance clearing just on abundance blocks, and we clear the gamut. Like, it's kind of a cool little journey that I take people through. You know, it's all about clearing the basic root programs that we have about fear of change, and, you know, some of the things receiving, and, you know, being having all your superpowers activated, and clearing all these funny little cross purposes and money zapping decisions. And so what it is I take everyone through this journey. It's called Unlimited Abundance, and it's a journey through clearing the 24 abundance blocks. And what people do is they listen to a module, and you clear your stuff, and if you still feel a little heavy about it after the first module, you stay in the first module and listen to it again. And people go through this thing where they listen to, you know, people have reported to me that they listen to it. I've had people say they listen to it while they're sleeping over and over again. Or I've had people say, oh, I listen to it 15 minutes a day when I'm in the shower, you know, to start my day. people go through it with whatever, time that they can, that they have. And then, I get these amazing stories back from people that say, oh my gosh, I mean, like I get crazy stories that most people wouldn't believe kind of stories back, like, oh my God, I manifested $1 million. I mean, I had a couple of those. And I also have, which are the most heart opening to me, is like, welfare mom gets off of welfare, right? Or a guy who doesn't have a job for 2 years, and his wife talks him into taking my course. Within 2 months, he finally gets a job, even though he'd been out of work for 2 years, right? So, you know what I mean? So it's kind of profound, like the how it manifests for everyone. There's an unconditional money-back guarantee. I had somebody send me an email. I have a few of these, but he said, he'd posted it on my Facebook. He said, hey, a few weeks ago, I purchased unlimited abundance even though I could not afford it. I used my household bills money to pay for it and gave myself 30 days to manifest the money. I've been doing the program for 13 days now and have been asking the universe to manifest 200 pounds to pay for the course. Today, my father came to see me and gave me a check for 200 pounds out of the blue. I was stunned. I've been doing the clearing exercises, and at first I thought it wasn't working, but now I know it really works, and I'm amazed. And, you guys are really good about asking questions. So I always say to people, if you're really deciding whether to do the course, ask yourself right now, if I invest in doing this course, will it give me way more money than had I not done the course, right? Or will it give me more money than I invest in it? Either of those two questions. And if you get a yes, then,